He's a friend of mine.
Good man.
Also, yeah. In my research, I came across two names, Dalia Mogadud and Rashid Hassan. Now, these are people that Obama has brought into the White House to be consultants on religion.
Yes.
And they're the ones who are basically stirring. Now, I know Dalia Mogadud is a Saudi princess, and she wants to institute Sharia law in the United States, and she said it's been bad-mouthed.
I think she's Egyptian. You might be thinking of Kumabding.
Maybe.
But anyway...
There's a number of them. You know,
yeah.
There's about 6 of them that Obama has brought into the White House to be consultants.
Well, Dalia Mogadud, yeah, she actually keeps denying that she was an advisor to Obama, but there's abundant record of it. And Dalia Mogadud is on record. She was on a program. She wears the hijab, and she's an observant Muslim. And she was on a television program sponsored by Hizb ut-Tahrir in England. Hizb ut-Tahrir is an international Islamic organization that is dedicated to imposing Islamic law around the world. It's outlawed in a lot of countries, including a lot of Muslim countries that don't want the fullness of Islamic law imposed there. And it's legal in the United States. They have conventions in Chicago every year. And she's on this program, and she's defending Islamic law, which mandates the subjugation of non-Muslims, mandates the oppression of women, mandates the denial of the freedom of speech, and so on. And she's advising Obama. Rashad Hussain is Obama's ambassador to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. We never did have an ambassador to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation before. He's the first. And he got in some trouble during his confirmation, rubber stamp, because he had defended Sami Al-Aryan, who was a professor in South Florida, who turned out to be not just teaching computer science, but also leading Palestinian Islamic Jihad from South Florida, and raising money for these people who were murdering Israeli civilians. And so that, of course, didn't, they don't care. Actually, it was rather clumsy because he had written a defense of Al-Aryan that was disappeared from the internet. But nothing really goes away on the internet, and so it was found, but it made no difference. It's interesting to note that Michelle Bachmann, the congresswoman from Minnesota, called for an investigation of Muslim Brotherhood operatives in the United States last summer, and was ridiculed and derided and accused of racism and bigotry in exactly the same way they always do to everyone. And she named some names, including Mohammed Al-Libiari, who is a gentleman I know. I met him in Texas a few years back. He came to a talk I was giving to chronicle the vicious Islamophobia. And Mohammed Al-Libiari is a member of the Department of Homeland Security Advisory Committee. And he actually spoke in 2004 in Texas, in Dallas, at a convention in honor of the great Islamic visionary, the Ayatollah Khomeini. And I challenged him on this, face to face, and said, how can you say you're a moderate when you're out there praising Khomeini? And he said, well, I didn't actually know that the conference was about Khomeini. And so you can't blame me for that. And I was thinking, okay, let's just do a thought experiment for a minute. Imagine if I, Spencer, said, yeah, I'll speak at your event, and I came here and you're all wearing Klan robes. And I went ahead and spoke anyway and said, I didn't know it was a Klan meeting. Do you think that Mohammed Al-Libiari would give me a pass on that? The fact is that it's obvious that he is an Islamic supremacist, a supporter of Khomeini, and so on. And he's on the Department of Homeland Security Advisory Committee. Michelle Bachmann included him in her call for an investigation. Now, what's interesting about this is that there's no investigation, and Bachmann's a racist and all that. But a few weeks ago, an Egyptian paper wrote a story saying, we have these Muslim Brotherhood operatives in the U.S. government, and they have turned the U.S. government around from being the foremost enemy of Muslims worldwide to being the foremost enabler of Islamic law. And they named some names, including Mohammed Al-Libiari and other people that Bachmann had named. And so, it just goes to show you, this is what we're up against.